The Polite Society is a British martial arts comedy written and directed by Nida Manzoor and stars Priya Kansara and Ritu Arya. Let's take a look. Hi guys, thanks for coming to Cinema Bear. My name's Eric Ortiz. Before we begin, could you please do me a massive favor and hit the subscribe button? As it stands right now, I'm only 999,970 subscribers away from 1 million, so I'm getting there. Thank you very much. So, Polite Society. At the beginning of Polite Society, we find Ria and Lena Khan, played by Kansara and Arya respectively, and Ria is basically a young girl that wants to break tradition and wants to become a stunt woman. So she does these videos with her older sister, Lena, and they're almost like a demo reel for her to put her name out there and become like a famous stunt person. Well, on the other hand, Lena has a more traditional path to her life where her parents are planning her to go to university and eventually marry her off. So there's this little conflict that the family has to go through where they're trying to set a path for both their daughters, and one is fighting against it while one is kind of surrendered into the reality that she's just going to become a basic housewife. From the very start, this movie has a unique energy to it, especially with Ria's character, where she's just so positive and so high energy and so anti-establishment is the only way I can think of, that you kind of want to follow her and her journey and be around her and see how she deals with, you know, the jerks at school or the traditions that are being forced upon her at home or society in general, where the role that she wants to play in her life is different than what's expected of her. And I really appreciated that narrative conflict where you have someone that's going against the grain, and even when realistically life might be easier by following a certain path, she just says, screw it, I want to do this for myself. In terms of production quality, the movie looks great. The cinematography is beautiful, and the action sequences are very well staged. I was really surprised just how well the action sequences were staged. Like, I was expecting the movie to have, you know, some level of action that would be adequate to respectable, but it actually surprised me in terms of just how polished and how clean the action sequences were. I think you'll be really impressed just to see how good of a movie this actually ends up being in terms of just the production value, where I'm not sure how much this movie costs, but whatever's on screen, you could look at this and at first glance say, oh, this is like maybe like a $60–70 million film, even though if you look it up on IMDb or Wikipedia, it's cost significantly less. This is a very high quality production. I think every dollar is in the frame and it shows. Gorgeous looking film. The acting is great. Priya Kansara's take on Ria is just fantastic. The energy that she has on camera is unlike anything I've ever seen before. It almost reminded me of when Robert Downey Jr. played Iron Man for the very first time, where you just really couldn't take your eyes off of him. Like, the guy was just on point. And in here, Kansara is also on point. There is so much happening like in her face with her expressions that you kind of just know what she's thinking. It is a magnificent performance. That said, Ritu Arya's Lena actually has a more complex arc where she starts off on a low and then kind of has a high and then has this conflict at the end that I will not spoil because I hate doing spoilers. But you see her range as an actor where she does sadness, she does joy, and then she does rage, which is a big payoff at the third act of the movie. In terms of pacing, the movie moves at a pretty brisk pace. It's about an hour and 45 minutes, but this is one of those movies where every scene has a purpose and doesn't waste your time. It's either introducing a new character, introducing a new conflict, introducing a new subplot that comes out of left field, which is ridiculous and awesome. At no point are you going to feel that they could have taken this scene out or that scene out. It actually feels like every scene here is earned and fits in the theme that the movie's trying to present. And one of the great things the movie has going for it is how strong its theme actually is. I remember when I reviewed Fighter, the movie had a strong theme about patriotism and loving your country. While Polite Society's theme, it's all about being yourself. It's all about being yourself and fighting against the powers that be that want you to change who you are for something else. And this movie just does not flinch when it comes to that theme. This movie is an absolute masterclass on how to have the theme, stick to it, and just not care. And honestly, the payoff is just fantastic. And Nida Manzoor's directing is just so on point here. I remember watching Black Widow a few years back and wondering to myself, like, this movie has a solid cast, yet it doesn't feel right. But Nida Manzoor takes Ria and Lena's relationship, and it feels so natural. It kind of reminded me a lot of Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan in Rush Hour, Mel Gibson and Danny Glover in Lethal Weapon, or Gina Davis and Susan Sarandon and Thelma Louise, where there's this pair, and even when they're fighting, you can tell that there's this admiration and love that they have for each other, where they're pushing the other person to be the better version of themselves. And this movie just has that in spades. This is such a wonderfully directed piece of work, and the relationship between Ria and Lena is directed beautifully. Well, if you can't tell by now, Polite Society is an absolute cinema masterpiece. This was my favorite film of 2023. I was in the theaters and I saw the trailer for this. I saw the first 30 seconds of the trailer and I walked out of the theater because I didn't want anything spoiled. Because as mentioned, that theme was so interesting and gripping that I wanted to see this movie right away. I had high expectations and it met pretty much all of them. So if you get a chance to see Polite Society, you will do yourself a huge favor. It is such a remarkably well put together film. It is a wonderful relationship film. It is a wonderful family film. It is great to see that this movie kind of demonstrates how family can be your best friend and worst enemy, and you can fight with family as much as you want, but real family is always going to be there. Well, that's my honest take on Polite Society, my absolute favorite film of 2023. I absolutely love this movie. It is so awesome. I wanted to see it in IMAX, but it didn't get released in IMAX. But yeah, highly recommend it. Check it out. Enjoy it. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. We cannot recommend it enough. If you enjoyed something like Everything Everywhere at Once, this is a good double feature night. Watch those two. The themes are strong. The characters are strong. The fighting sequences are awesome. So yeah, definitely check it out. Please come back for my next video. I'll be reviewing The Holdovers. Directed by Alexander Payne, written by David Hemmingson, and starring Paul Giamatti.
I can tell by your faces that many of you are shocked at the outcome. I, on the other hand, am not, because I have had the misfortune of teaching you this semester. And even with my ocular limitations, I witnessed firsthand your glazed, uncomprehending expressions.
Sir, I don't understand.
That's glaringly apparent.
Thank you very much again for watching. Guys, let me know in the comment section. Have you seen Polite Society? Have you seen Everything Everywhere All at Once? Because if you've seen that one in particular, I think Polite Society will speak to you. This is, dude, best movie for me, best movie of 2023. Well, thanks again for coming to Cinema Bear. My name's Eric Ortiz. I will see you for the next one, guys. Take care.